I was standing in an attic in July. No AC unit, no fan running, no vents I could see, and it was cooler than the living room downstairs. The man who owned the house was named Earl. That is not his real name, but he would not want me using it. He was 74 years old. He had lived in that house since 1987, and he had never once paid to cool his attic. He pointed at the underside of the roof. White, bright white. Painted directly onto the wood with what looked like ordinary exterior paint mixed with something. $4, he said. Per treatment. Lasts 3 summers. I spent the drive home trying to explain what I had felt. The attic of that house should have been 140 degrees. In July, in Tennessee, with a dark roof and no mechanical ventilation, that is what physics says happens. What I felt was maybe 95. That is not a small difference. That is the difference between an attic that slowly cooks the rooms below it all summer and one that does not. And it was done with a bucket, a brush, and a $4 material that every hardware store in America stocks year-round. The material is whitewash. And before you close this video thinking you already know this, you do not. Because what the cooling industry buried is not that white paint reflects heat. Every 5-year-old knows that. What they buried is the specific mixture, the documented performance data, and the century-long history of a treatment so effective that the United States military used it on ammunition storage facilities during World War II to prevent heat-triggered detonations. The same government that funded the research quietly stopped teaching it when a $130 billion air conditioning industry decided that a $4 bucket of lime and water was not a business model anyone needed to know about. In about 5 minutes, I am going to show you exactly what Earl mixed, how he applied it, and what the performance numbers actually look like when someone measures them honestly. But first, you need the history. Because once you understand what was thrown away and why, you will never look at your electricity bill the same way. In the 1800s, whitewash was not a decorating choice. It was infrastructure. Farmers across the American South painted their barns, grain stores, and root cellars with a lime and water mixture every spring, not because it looked clean, but because it worked. A whitewashed roof surface reflects up to 90% of incoming solar radiation instead of absorbing it. The structure beneath stayed cool. The food inside stayed preserved. The animals inside stayed alive during heat waves that would otherwise kill them. This was not folk wisdom. It was documented practice taught in agricultural manuals, recommended by the USDA in publications going back to the 1890s, and used at industrial scale across the American South, the Mediterranean, and the Middle East for centuries. In Greece and North Africa, entire villages were whitewashed annually not for aesthetics, but because the heat reduction was measurable and the cost was almost nothing. Lime was cheap, water was free. The results lasted a full season. The United States military formalized it during World War II. Army Corps of Engineers documentation confirmed that whitewash applied to ammunition depot rooftops reduced interior temperatures by 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit compared to untreated structures. They were not experimenting. They were applying knowledge that had existed for generations because overheated munitions storage was a life-or-death problem, and they needed a solution that cost almost nothing and worked immediately. That documentation existed, it was published, it was never classified. And it disappeared from mainstream awareness within 1 generation, not because it stopped working, but because something more expensive arrived that could be sold monthly. Wait, stop for a second. I want to ask you something directly. Have you ever gone into your attic in August and felt the heat hit you like opening an oven door? Have you ever noticed that the rooms directly below your attic are always the hottest in the house, no matter how long the AC runs? Have you ever had an energy audit done and been told the solution was more insulation, a new AC unit, or a powered attic ventilator with a price tag starting at $800? That advice is not wrong. Those things do help. But every single one of them treats the symptom. The symptom is heat that has already entered your attic and is radiating downward. None of them stop the heat before it arrives. Whitewash does. It reflects 80 to 90% of solar radiation before it ever becomes heat inside your roof structure. You are not managing heat. You are refusing it entry. And that is a concept worth exactly $4 that the insulation industry, the HVAC industry, and the powered ventilation industry have a shared financial interest in making sure you never think about first. Here is exactly why attic heat destroys your home's comfort and why whitewash stops it at the source. I am going to explain this with one image and no technical language. Picture a black car and a white car parked side by side in a summer parking lot. After 2 hours, the black car's interior is 40 degrees hotter than the white car's interior. Same sun. Same parking lot. Same amount of time. The only difference is what the surface does with the energy that hits it. The black surface absorbs it and turns it into heat. The white surface bounces most of it away before it ever has a chance to become heat inside the vehicle. Your attic roof works exactly like that car. A standard dark asphalt shingle roof absorbs 90 to 95% of solar radiation and converts it to heat. On a 90-degree summer day, that roof surface reaches 150 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That heat does not stay on the shingles. It radiates downward through the decking into the attic air, and from there into the ceiling of every room below. Your AC unit is then fighting that heat source from the inside, running longer, working harder, and costing more, while the source of the problem sits 6 inches above your ceiling, continuing to bake everything beneath it. A reflective whitewash coating on that same roof bounces 80 to 90% of incoming solar radiation away before it converts to heat. The Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, a United States Department of Energy research facility, measured the effect of cool roof coatings on residential structures and documented attic temperature reductions of 20 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. A separate study published in the journal Energy and Buildings confirmed that reflective roof treatments reduced cooling energy consumption in residential buildings by between 10 and 25% annually. These are not manufacturer claims. These are government-funded, peer-reviewed measurements. Earl's attic at 95 degrees instead of 140 is not magic. It is exactly what those numbers predict. The material that produces this effect in its most basic and most affordable form is hydrated lime mixed with water, calcium hydroxide. It costs between $8 and $12 for a 50-pound bag at any farm supply store or hardware store. One bag mixed with water covers approximately 400 square feet of roof surface. For a standard 1,500 square foot home, the total material cost for a full roof treatment is under $40, applied with a standard brush or a pump garden sprayer. No special equipment, no contractor, no permit required. This is not theory, this is documented, repeatable, and almost nobody is acting on it. Remember what I said at the beginning about the military using this during World War II and it disappearing from mainstream knowledge within one generation? Here is where it gets even more disturbing. In 1952, the United States housing construction industry underwent what historians of architecture call the Great Standardization. Post-war suburban development required homes to be built at a pace and price point never seen before. Levittown in New York, Park Forest in Illinois, Lakewood in California. Developers were building thousands of identical homes per year using prefabricated components, standardized floor plans, and construction crews who built the same house on repeat. Speed was everything. Quality was secondary. And passive cooling features, roof orientation, reflective coatings, overhanging eaves that shaded walls took time, took skill, and added costs that developers did not want to carry. The same year the air conditioning unit became a standard residential product offering, the building industry effectively stopped designing homes that did not need one. Not through a law, not through a ban. Through a business decision made by developers who realized that a house dependent on mechanical cooling was a house that created a recurring revenue stream for the equipment manufacturers, the utility companies, and the maintenance contractors who would service those systems for the next 50 years. The Carrier Corporation, the company that commercialized residential air conditioning, reported revenues of $18.6 billion in 2022. Trane Technologies reported $14.9 billion. Lennox International reported $4.7 billion. Combined, the four companies that control 90% of the American residential HVAC market generate over $50 billion annually from equipment that exists to solve a problem that a $4 lime treatment prevents in the first place. They did not ban whitewash. They made it unnecessary by building homes designed to trap heat and then let it be forgotten. They funded research into more efficient compressors. They lobbied for building codes that required mechanical ventilation systems. They shaped the curriculum at architecture schools to focus on HVAC load calculations instead of passive heat rejection. And within one generation, a technique that had kept structures cool on 3 continents for 2,000 years quietly vanished from the home improvement conversation. But here is what they could not erase. The physics. A white surface still reflects heat. Lime still costs $4. And your attic is still cooking your house from the inside right now, waiting for someone who knows what to do about it. What I am about to show you is something no HVAC contractor will ever recommend before quoting you a new unit. The exact method Earl used and the upgrade he showed me that doubled the effect. Step 1. Buy hydrated lime, not agricultural lime, not dolomite lime, hydrated lime, also sold as masonry lime or type S lime. It comes in a 50-pound bag and costs between $8 and $12 at Home Depot, Lowe's, or any farm supply store. This is the same material that has been used in whitewash for 2,000 years. It is non-toxic, it is safe to handle with gloves and eye protection, and it is the active ingredient in the reflective coating you are about to make. Step 2. Mix it correctly. This is where most people get the ratio wrong and end up with a coating that cracks and peels within one season. The correct ratio is 10 pounds of hydrated lime to 1 gallon of water. Mix slowly. Let it sit for 24 hours before application. After 24 hours, add 1 more gallon of water and mix again. The final mixture should look like thin white milk, not thick paint, not water. If it is too thick, it will crack as it dries. If it is too thin, it will not coat. Thin white milk is the target consistency. Step 3. Apply in the early morning or late evening, never in direct midday sun. Use a wide masonry brush or a garden pump sprayer set to its widest nozzle. Start at the ridge and work downward. Apply 2 thin coats rather than 1 thick coat. Let the first coat dry fully approximately 2 hours before applying the second. 2 thin coats bond to the surface and to each other. 1 thick coat cracks. Now, before the final steps, I need to stop here, because there is something Earl showed me that I have not seen documented anywhere online, not on any channel, not in any home improvement guide. And it is the part that changed how I think about this entire method. Most people who try whitewash apply it and get results. Good results, the numbers I already gave you. But Earl's attic was not just good, it was exceptional. And the reason was what he mixed into the whitewash before applying it. He added Portland cement. 1 pound of Portland cement per 5 gallons of finished whitewash mixture. Portland cement costs under $7 for a 10 pound bag. It takes 30 seconds to mix in. And what it does to the durability of the coating is the reason Earl has applied this treatment exactly 3 times since 1987. Not every year, 3 times in 37 years. Because the cement binds the lime to the roof surface at a molecular level instead of simply coating it, the reflective properties are identical. The lifespan is 4 to 6 times longer. A standard lime whitewash lasts 1 to 2 seasons before reapplication. The lime cement blend Earl used lasts 8 to 12 years. The total cost of Earl's 3 applications since 1987 is under $35. The total energy saving based on the 20 to 30 degree attic temperature reduction documented by Lawrence Berkeley over 37 summers in a Tennessee climate is a number that makes the HVAC industry very uncomfortable. To calculate. Step 4. Apply annually to the first coat if you use plain lime, or every 8 to 10 years if you use the cement blend. Before each reapplication, brush the roof surface with a stiff broom to remove any loose material, lichen, or debris. A clean surface is the difference between a coating that lasts and one that peels. Step 5. Be honest about your climate. This method produces its strongest results in climates with high solar intensity and low cloud cover, the American South, Southwest, and Mountain West. In the Pacific Northwest or Great Lakes region, where overcast skies reduce direct solar load, the reflective benefit is smaller. It still works. It is still free. But manage your expectations based on your actual sun exposure. We are almost at the end. But the part I have not told you yet, that is the part that changes how you see all of this. This is not just about attic heat. It is about what happens when a solution that costs $4 and lasts a decade stands between you and an industry that needs you to spend $50 billion a year. Earl never had a $15,000 AC replacement. He never had a $2,000 summer electricity bill. He never called a technician. He mixed lime with water in a bucket and applied it with a brush. That is the complete list of everything he did to stay comfortable for 37 summers. Tell me in the comments, what does your attic temperature hit in peak summer? And has any contractor ever once mentioned a reflective coating before recommending a new unit? I want to know how many people are inside the replacement cycle right now. If this channel is showing you what the cooling industry quietly erased, subscribe. No sponsored equipment, no brand deals, just what a $4 bucket already knew how to do. This method kept ammunition from exploding in military depots in 1944. It kept food cold in Mediterranean villages before electricity existed. The only question is whether you are going to use it or keep paying monthly for a problem that was already solved before your house was built.